If you want to stay up to date with all current hip hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to become part of this community. J. Cole is about to drop his new album, The Off Season, this week, this Friday on May 14th, and here's everything we know about it. So this comes as a huge moment as a J. Cole fan because we've been waiting for this album for such a long time. There's such a long history, of this album being announced years ago, being part of, we now know is part of the Fall Off era, that we still have two more albums in, which is It's a Boy and The Fall Off, which come after the off season. But today I want to talk about the off season and all the details that we have so far. So first of all, J. Cole announced this thing on social media a couple of days ago, and he tweeted and said, "This was years in the making. My new album, The Off Season, available everywhere, May 14th. So from this, we know the release date, May 14th, which by now all of you guys should know. But we also got the cover art, and this is something that I've talked about in my past videos on this a lot too. I think this looks incredible. This is a nod to his mixtapes from back in the day, especially to the warm-up, where also that basketball hoop was featured on the cover. Also Friday Night Lights, of course, that was also basketball themed, because basketball has always played a big role and part in J. Cole's life. And he actually confirmed this, that it is, a nod to that, in a new documentary that we got, which is another key element that we got a lot of information from. It just dropped yesterday. It's called Applying Pressure, and I was really excited for this. I love when artists do more than just the music. They kind of create a story for a project and do documentaries and whatnot. And in this documentary, we also learned a lot about the off season and what this means. And in there, he said this is in fact kind of the same mental state that he was in back when the warm up dropped, where he was like, oh, I gotta perfect my craft. Back then he was trying to get signed, but now he said he wants to really kind of reach a new peak before then he can relax. And he just, right now, he doesn't feel comfortable with just, stopping his career and being remembered as, he is right now, because he still wants to go even further, which I always commend, of course. And I like that he, at this point in his career where everyone's saying he's one of the best rappers and most important rappers of this generation, that he's still like, yo, I still have something to learn. There's still so much more for me to, improve on, and that's what he wants to do with this thing. Now, I'm going to get into that documentary a little bit more later on, but for now, I want to talk about the single that we got so far, which is called Interlude. This dropped as a surprise drop last Friday on May 7th and serves as the first single that we have from the off season. And this thing is just 2 minutes. It's called Interlude, so we know that it is not like a standalone track, but it serves as, the title. It's an interlude for, the album. And this went number one immediately. It's doing incredibly well commercially. This just shows, what J. Cole has in terms of fan base and core fans that will just support him no matter what. I think this is a beautiful moment for J. Cole fans to witness. And this thing is incredible. I've talked about this when the song dropped. The mixing on here, the engineering and production is incredible. His voice is just on point. The vocal layering he does, a little bit of auto-tune, that's like what I want. This is exactly what I could have wished for, what I could have wanted, and Cole delivered. And if the rest of the album is this great, then we will be all blown away, and this will take over this year, and this is just an interlude. Like, you gotta understand that this is just an interlude. It's not even a real song, so that's why I'm very excited for the rest of the album. We don't know a lot about the other tracks on the record. In that documentary, we learned that Middle Child was supposed to be on the Fall Off, but he just dropped it as a single back in 2019. And, it's not going to be on the off season, which I thought, a lot of people were saying. Tracks like Everybody Dies, False Prophets, I don't think that they will make the cut on this one too. They're just too old. They're now 5 years old. I know that Cole was planning to do something with them, but I just don't think that they'll ever, that they'll be on here. They'll just be like standalone singles. In that documentary, Applying Pressure, though, we learned a lot about kind of what the track listing is going to be like. Even though we don't have the exact track list yet, if Cole does drop the track list, then I'll definitely make a video on it, so stay subscribed for, if you learn anything more about the off season coming out. But Cole was talking to 21 Savage in that documentary. So the two of them, they've collaborated on a lot. It seems like they're in studio together again, so maybe we'll get something new from the two of them. And Cole was talking about features. Now, this is something very interesting, as J. Cole is famous for going platinum with no features, and just never really letting anybody touch his stuff, because he said, I said on this track what I needed to say. Why should I let anybody else touch it? This is like what he wanted it to be. But on this new documentary, he talked about how if he looks back on his career in like 20 years and is like, I never did anything with anybody, so let's do it. And he said, so I welcomed these features on the off season. So we're going to get features on the off season. That's like exciting news. This is, this is big for J. Cole. And I think it's going to be very interesting and exciting to see how J. Cole works with these features, how he interpolates them into his music, into the songs that he's creating. And the features are something that we just haven't really gotten a lot from when it comes to J. Cole, so that's exciting. Another thing that I think is interesting is the mindset, as I talked about it earlier. He said that he's in a drill right now. He gets up before he can go to the studio. He has to write a verse, he has to make a beat, so he's very focused, very in his zone, creating this thing. We saw snippets from him at his home studio working on the off season. It looks incredible. I love the creative process behind this thing. And I'm just very excited to see what the end product is going to be like. I think, honestly, considering the amount of hype and the amount of preparation that he also put into this is going to be a great record. From the interlude so far, we know that Cole is back rapping, the best that he's ever rapped. And I think this is going to, definitely be contender for album of the year. And I really want to see what people he has featured on here, because, as I said, J. Cole features are always something special. So yeah, J. Cole's The Off Season is dropping on May 14th. So this week on Friday, we got the cover art, we got the release date, we got the title, which is, a reference to his earlier mixtapes, just as the cover art is, as I explained earlier. And this new documentary gave us a lot of insight into, what's to come. And I'm very excited. I hope you guys are excited too. Really, let me know what you think about this. I think it's so interesting. If you've watched the documentary, definitely let me know what you think about this. And yeah, I really want to know, so let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media and blog down in the description. It really helps me out. Until the next one, y'all have an incredible day, and y'all take care.